Hi everybody, today we are going to be talking about the personal narrative speech assignment. This is an opportunity for you to share a story from your own life that has had meaning or is relevant to you or the audience. So I want you to think of something like personal, funny, meaningful, or maybe even challenging. One note about the class requirement, you're going to need 2 audience members visible in your video so I can see how you interact in front of an audience. We will also need to make sure that your face and body are physically visible in the video itself. I've had students before that will stand and kind of put the camera behind them and show themselves talking to the audience, which is great because I can see how you're standing, but I can't see your face very well and often can't see nonverbal gestures. So make sure that when you do this speech, you're filming yourself, you're standing in front of the camera, and you don't have to show me your audience the whole time, but at least flip the camera around, have them wave, introduce them briefly. You could just say, here's my audience, and then flip it around to you because I need to be able to grade your nonverbals as well. So with that said, what is a personal narrative speech? Well, a personal narrative is essentially just a story about you. It could be an anecdote from school, work, family, or an experience that maybe taught you a lesson. The goal is to connect with your audience, share your perspective, and make them feel something, whether it's like laughter, empathy, insight, whatever that might look like. So that's the main point of this speech. Now let's talk about how you'll structure it. Your structure of your speech, just kind of like an essay, which is what I tell students often. Think about speech writing similar to how you write an essay. You want to have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning should introduce your story and set the scene. The middle should include the events that are important. Maybe it's like a conflict, maybe it's like a moment of inspiration, and then the end, share the outcome and what you've learned, and then maybe tie it back to a broader message that your audience can relate to. So that's our structure: beginning, middle, and end. Get us interested in the beginning. The middle is where the meat of what happened is, and the end is how you tie it back and leave us inspired or thinking or laughing, whatever it might be. So I have a few tips for you for delivery. One is, in this class, we use an extemporaneous speaking style. And I know that's like a huge word, but essentially what that means is you're not going to memorize your speech word for word. You're going to use an outline and keep things natural. So I'm sure many of us have memorized a speech before, or maybe had an impromptu discussion with somebody where we haven't planned anything out. It's going to be somewhere in between those. So there will be preparation. You'll have an outline with bullet points. However, it won't be fully like written out line by line, sentence by sentence. So that's extemporaneous style. And I'm going to do you'll see a whole separate video on what extemporaneous style is, and which we'll go into it in more detail. Along with that, you're going to make sure you engage your audience. You're going to have an audience there, and it's important that you make eye contact with those individuals, using gestures with your hands, and then also varying your tone. So I find sometimes that my students, if they don't pay attention to the first note about extemporaneous style, they'll fully write out a speech and just stand in front of a group of people, grab a piece of paper, and kind of, well, this is an ad from my local pet shop, but I think you can handle it. They put it up in front of their face and they're reading like this the whole time, right? That's not super engaging for your audience. So you want to make sure that you have notes that you can quickly look down at, but keep engaged with the audience. And then finally, the timing. This speech is going to be 3 to 4 minutes. You need to practice to make sure you stay in that range. Now, I love to hear you talk. I'm sure you love to hear me talk, if you're watching this video maybe. But the 3 to 4 minutes is really important, because as you move forward in your life and your career, you're going to have speaking opportunities where you need to assure that you stay within a time frame. This 3 to 4 minutes is super brief, but it's all about practicing and feeling in our bodies. What is it like to speak for 3 to 4 minutes? How do I keep myself concise while also giving the detail that's needed? So make sure you practice to stay within this range. Some examples for topics could be like a funny or embarrassing moment that taught you a lesson, maybe a challenge you've overcome and what it taught you, or even like a meaningful experience and how it shaped you to be who you are today. So remember, the speech is about connection, storytelling, and reflection. Choose a story that matters to you. Organize it clearly with the beginning, middle, and end, and deliver it naturally and extemporaneously to your audience. And don't forget the 2 audience members so I can grade everything. So I look forward to seeing your speeches, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Thanks.